When the little boy said he could find Becky, Curly was totally flabbergasted because at that moment, Becky looked like she had just crawled out of a coffin, completely terrified. Curly was heartbroken and wanted to know what happened, but when he turned around, the little boy had vanished like magic. Next morning, Curly donned Becky's necklace and prepped himself for another thrilling adventure like a jungle explorer on a mission. Suddenly, he heard voices coming from the bushes and immediately switched to scream for help mode, only to discover it was the Robin family. Hearing Curly's cries, the pet dog rocketed into the bushes, followed by the boy and his parents. Curly intended to shout for their guidance outside. He thought, "Don't rush into the bushes." But too late. The robins were lost in the nighttime thicket maze. Ross, who got separated from his wife and kid, found that ominous black boulder deep in the bushes as if he stumbled upon a nightmare sculpture exhibit. Flash to the next day, a pair of Carl and Becky swing by, hearing the boys' cries like movie characters starting their own quest again. Curly shouted for them not to come in, puzzling the siblings who wondered how Curly got there faster than they did. Curly scratched his head too, explaining he was there to find them, but all he could think about was Becky's safety. At that moment, the little boy shouted that he found his dog, completely unaware the dog had been invited for tea by someone. Seeing his girlfriend again, Curly didn't know what to say, while Becky was unfriendly, clearly recalling they'd split just 2 days ago. Becky grilled Curly on why he was tailing them, and Curly confusedly claimed he had been tracking for over 2 months. They argued back and forth, even the leaves on the trees were eavesdropping. Curly insisted he remembered they had left 2 months ago. Suddenly, Becky felt she was being watched and urged everyone to hurry out, while Curly let the small boy ride on his shoulders to find their way. He spotted what looked like the top of an abandoned church in the distance, so everyone moved forward like pilots flying through fog. Becky suddenly felt a sharp pain in her stomach, so she had to pause for a moment, revealing to her boyfriend that the baby inside was kicking up a storm. When Curly felt the kicking, he finally understood why Becky was adamant about the breakup. She truly had her heart set on this baby. But they weren't aware of how Carl was looking at them, clearly harboring some not so pure intentions towards his sister. Suddenly, Curly got a call from Becky's voice, crying that Carl wanted to kill him and urgently instructed Curly to stick by her. Becky barely had time to ask why when the call dropped, so she chose to press on forward. After walking a bit further, Becky felt another severe stomach pain, as if something was controlling her, experiencing strange hallucinations. Just then, Ross appeared and rushed to Becky, pressing on her to revive her before she passed out completely. It was then they realized he was the boy's father, with Ross showing immense kindness as he said he found the way home. As night fell, Ross led them to the black boulder, praising it like a superstitious believer, causing Becky to question why he didn't just lead them out. Ross claimed that touching the stone would lead them home, and Carl was about to believe it again when the boy's mother suddenly barged in. She exclaimed frantically that Ross wanted to harm them and urged everyone not to trust him, claiming she had seen Becky dead beforehand. Yet Ross insisted his wife was just fatigued and rambling, just as Becky felt another pang while glaring at Ross. Becky saw several scary-looking grass figures, and Ross' terrifying nature began to emerge, prompting Becky to urge Carl and Curly to get her out fast. Yet Ross persisted in convincing them to touch the stone, claiming it would wipe away their sins, but nobody was buying it now. It appeared the gentle approach wasn't working, so he showed his evil side, his increasingly bizarre words sending shivers down everyone's spine. Curly attempted to strike first but ended up with Ross twisting his arm, a real blockbuster moment right there. Ross pinned Curly down, forcing him to touch the boulder. Meanwhile, Ross' wife was in panic mode, urging the son to run away, but she was caught by her husband, who held her head in a terrifying grip, still managing to reassure the panicking onlookers. It scared Becky half to death, prompting Curly to spring up and lead everyone to escape, but they hadn't gotten far before his condition flared up again, but then suddenly, the little boy's dog burst in and guided them to an abandoned building. Spotting Curly's dislocated arm, Carl rushed to help him pop it back in place, while Robin stood by, rambling on. They all belonged to the bushes, trapped in a cycle of life and death. Carl pointed fingers at Curly, insisting that if it wasn't for him getting his sister, they wouldn't be stuck here. But Curly retorted that there was no excuse, as he'd seen through Carl's hidden feelings for Becky long ago. The two started brawling just as a loud banging came from the door, forcing everyone to escape to the rooftop in a hurry. After locking the entrance, they found no escape, then saw the nearby church and realized the road was very close. Yet, for unknown reasons, entering the thicket led to disorientation. The boy's dog suddenly appeared, dashed through the bushes, and vanished. It reappeared and led right to the road on the other side of the church. Curly suddenly realized that the bushes were hiding an escape route. Subtitles, he nearly fell off the building in excitement, but Carl saved him in time. His thought was, once Curly dies, she'll be mine. Carl eventually let go, but the little boy caught him in the act. As he pondered how to explain, Ross suddenly crawled into a vent. Carl rushed with Becky toward the magical thicket, but when Becky realized Cully wasn't behind them, she declared she'd be better off without him. Remembering that phone call from earlier, where it seemed her brother killed Cully, Becky fumed and broke free from Carl, diving back into the bushes. As she fled, Ross caught her and ominously declared she'd never escaped the thicket, prompting a panicked Carl to shove Ross aside and race back into the bushes. Running for his life, Ross caught up with Carl, who stumbled upon various decaying versions of himself, while Cully miraculously woke up from his unconsciousness. Meanwhile, Becky was taking a rest due to exhaustion, while Curly, standing across the bushes, was pondering in his mind how they could reunite once again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on more of our hilarious adventures.